As someone who has used several Google Pixel devices over the years, my wife actually is daily driving a Pixel 5 and likes it quite a bit. We're both really excited about the Pixel 6. The rumors have been numerous. We know pretty much everything about this device at this point. So what I'm going to do in today's video is I'm going to give you a breakdown of pretty much everything that we know about the Pixel 6. And what I did is I tweeted this out in a tweet chain, if that's the correct thing to call it. And so I'm just going to walk you through kind of this information via those tweets. If you want to see these things kind of before I talk about them in a video, of course, you can follow me on my Twitter account down there in that corner. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this side-by-side view, and I will show you what we're talking about here. So there are going to be two models of the Pixel 6. There's the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro. Let's talk about the Pixel 6 standard first. So you're going to get a 6.4-inch screen on the standard Pixel 6, and this image down here is what the Pixel 6 should look like. This is actually slightly outdated, so let's ignore this picture, right? This picture will be accurate for the Pixel 6. This is a little bit outdated now. The Pixel 6 Pro will look a little different. I'll show you a better picture of that shortly. But this is the Pixel 6. 6.4-inch screen, 120 hertz refresh rate on that panel, which is fantastic. As someone who has been using the Z Fold 2 for a while, this screen, fine, whatever. Open it up, however, and this screen, just the buttery smoothness, which I can't possibly show you in a video that is recorded at 30 FPS, is fantastic. 90 hertz is good, 120 even better. It is an AMOLED display, so this thing's going to look pretty damn good. 1080p, can't read this morning. It is just a 1080p panel, but look, on a 6.4-inch screen, I'm not real upset about that if I'm being totally honest. It's gonna look fine. It's gonna look fine. Let's talk about the cameras though. We're gonna get a 50 megapixel wide, which is your standard. Some people get confused, they see wide and they think they're talking about something else. All of our primary cameras now are wide angle. Then we have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. So this is a huge departure for Google because they've been using essentially the same 12 megapixel sensor for about 42 years. So we're using a 50 megapixel sensor now. Oh my God, it's gonna be so much better. And they're gonna use this 50 megapixel as your telephoto lens as well because you're shooting at a much higher resolution. So combining that with some Google magic, you're gonna be able to punch into that picture and it'll serve as a pretty decent telephoto. And of course, a 12 megapixel ultra wide should be totally fine as well. I think this is going to be a big step up from even the basic Pixel 5, just in terms of picture quality. The front-facing selfie camera is an 8 megapixel, and that is going to be in a center-mounted hole punch camera. Battery is 4614 milliamp hours, which is fine. And we'll talk about the processor, which just is slated as Google. We'll talk about that a bit more in a moment, but that battery combined with a custom system on a chip, a custom processor, battery life, I'm going to guess will be pretty good. 8 gigs of RAM, 128 and 256 storage, and then Android 12. I know some of you would like more than 8 gigs of RAM, but for 99.9% of people, it's totally fine. My Z Fold 2 has 12 gigs of RAM, and I came from a Surface Duo, which has 6 gigs of RAM. And yeah, the Duo has a lot of bugs, but in terms of opening and closing apps and things like that, you can't tell any real difference. I mean, is it possible that when I go to my multitasking view on my Fold that I can go back a bit further and an app, I mean, even that had to relaunch. So like, it's not as if you just can never have to relaunch an app with 12. 8 is going to be totally sufficient. All right, so the Pixel 6 Pro. Again, this image is slightly outdated, but it's really close. 6.71-inch display, so a bigger display. We're going to a QHD plus resolution, so a higher resolution, keeping the 120 hertz because that's great. We're keeping the same 50 megapixel primary camera. We're getting a 48 megapixel telephoto, which is a periscope camera, which is visible in this image. See how it's a square? And basically what that means when I say it's a periscope camera, it's actually really, really cool. So the light goes into that lens, it hits a mirror and is diverted down or sideways somewhere in the body of the camera, which allows it to pass through more lenses, which gets you a telephoto effect. I believe this is going to be a 5 times Telephoto zoom, fantastic. And it's 48 megapixels, right? This telephoto lens with Google Magic, 48 megapixel, and it's a periscope. Holy crap, it could be incredible. And then the same 12 megapixel ultra wide. So the camera setup is the same. You're just adding that 48 megapixel periscope zoom, but you're going to want that. 12 megapixels on, again, the center mounted selfie display. RAM goes from 8 to 12. 12 gigs of RAM, so we're matching stuff like the Z Fold if you do want that, and then we do also have a 512 gigabyte option for storage. So the Pro truly is the Pro device here. And as I wrote here, both are running Google's custom Whitechapel system on a chip rather than what they used before on the Pixel 5, which was the Snapdragon 765. Whitechapel is being manufactured by Samsung using a 5 nanometer process and is focused less on high-end performance and more on battery and optimization. A fully custom image processing pipeline is also rumored. So they're basically customizing their own processor, their own system on a chip here. And it's going to be using a pretty familiar design here. So you have 2 Cortex A78 cores, 2 A76, and 3 A55 cores. It's a 3-cluster design. So this is a fairly common setup for a lot of modern ARM processors. It's using the same ARM Mali G78 GPU. So nothing on paper about Whitechapel you're going to look at and go, oh my God, it's going to be a world beater. It's not. But if it's heavily customized and the software is heavily tailored to use it well, you don't need it to be super, super powerful. And that's what Google is going for here. All the rumors indicate they're going for super optimized. And when we talk about something like a fully customized image processing pipeline, that could be huge. If you guys remember, I've talked about this in a video a long time ago, but when you had the S21, or I guess actually any of the Samsung phones earlier than the S20, S10, these phones, if you had the Snapdragon version, they took better pictures than the Exynos version. The reason is because the Snapdragon has a better image signal processing pipeline than Exynos. Well, Google's been using Snapdragon processors the entire time because they've got a good processing pipeline. Now they're going to make their own pipeline, so potentially even more gains there in terms of camera performance using the Whitechapel system on a chip, which again is going to be heavily customized by Google to stretch the battery and things of this nature. We also have rumors of 5 years of Android support with Pixel 6. That is a lot. Samsung is doing 3 years, I believe, so 5 years is a long time. Launch window of October, which is around when Duo 2 is going to launch. That should be a fun month. As far as the price goes, we don't really know. Expect it to go up from the Pixel 5 because the Pixel 5 was, kind of that entry level, kind of in the same price range as the Samsung's FE phones. I expect it to go up a bit, in particular with the Pro model, but we don't have any solid rumors here in terms of the price. Face Unlock is making a return if Android 12 is to be believed. We've got some people digging into Android 12 source code and finding Face Unlock in there. There's only the single selfie camera in the Pixel 6. There's no array of dot projectors or anything, so it will be just like the Face Unlock that Samsung has had for a long time, which is less secure, but it's there if you want to turn that on. But yeah, that's pretty much what we know about the Pixel 6. We've had, a ton of rumors about this thing. We know that it's, pretty wild looking. This camera bump is quite large. It sticks out from the back quite a ways, whereas Pixels in the past really didn't do that. So big changes coming from the Pixel 6. That's pretty much everything we know at this point. Guys, thanks as always for making it to the end of today's video. Thanks for those of you who have supported me at scaryfloaterall.com's donation page, and for you lovely people who have donated through Flatter. It means a ton to me. You are helping me pay my bills so that I can keep chasing this stream. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.